again, my name is Barbara Stevens and I'm a specialist breakup recovery mentor, and I'd like to thank you for attending and listening to my second webinar in this series called How to Get Over Your Breakup in 12 Easy Steps. If you've joined me for my first webinar, welcome back, and if this is your first webinar, then welcome. There is a chat box on the left-hand side if you want to ask questions. I've set it up private and public, so you can ask me a question private if you like, or you can just put it up there for public. So in case you're wondering what a breakup recovery mentor is or does, or have forgotten what I said in webinar 1, I work with women who have gone through their breakups by helping them regaining their confidence through my 12 inspirational step program, so they can embrace life again. Now, this is the second webinar in a series of 4 that I'll be bringing to you. Webinar number 1 is available for you to listen for free on my website, barbarastevens.com.au, under free resources. So first of all, I will give you an overview on what we are covering today, and I also want to tell you my expectations of this webinar and what I'll be offering you today. As always, I want to make sure that I'm giving you valuable content that is honest and straightforward. I'm someone that wants to make sure I'm giving you practical strategies and techniques that you can take away and implement them in your lives now and start to make a difference in the way you think and act now. As with the first webinar I delivered, you will need a pen and some paper, as we're going to complete a small exercise which we will need you to write things down, and in doing so it will benefit you and give you some ideas you may like to pursue in the future. So my webinars are about some talking from me and some doing, some writing from you, which I think works best if you really want to make positive changes in your life. Just hearing me speak is not enough. You actually have to do some of the work for yourself in order to create real changes and see benefits. I'm going to cover 3 of my 12 inspirational steps in this webinar, number 2, and the remaining 6 steps will be covered in the next 2 webinars. So I hope you join me for those webinars as well. So the steps I'll be covering in today's webinar are Discover Calmness, Boost Confidence, and Loneliness Busters. For those of you who have listened to webinar 1, have heard my background about my divorce, so I won't go into it again today and possibly bore you, but I'll share my own insights based on my experiences both with my own divorce and my clients' issues when we cover the 3 steps: Discover Calmness, Boost Confidence, and Loneliness Busters. Now, we'll move on to the first step in this webinar. Step number 4 is about how to discover calmness, especially when you are experiencing some form of anxiety. Anxiety is a part of our daily lives, and everyone can feel anxious from time to time, and it's very common when you're going through a breakup. Everyone is different, and so too are the ways in which you can experience anxiety. It is important to recognise the signs. I know for me, the first time I experienced anxiety came the day I decided to end my marriage of 20-odd years. I was having feelings of sadness and could not shake that low mood I seemed to be constantly in. I could not see that things could get any better for me. I was trapped in doom and gloom, and I felt I had no way of moving forward or up, so to speak. I definitely felt guilty for the collapse of the family unit. My children had no idea that things had gotten so bad, that I could no longer live a married life with their father. It came as such a shock for them, and their reactions were both very different. One of them wanted to know all the details, which I only felt I could give her some, as I didn't want to burden her with my problems, and she had to process the breakup for herself. And my other daughter retreated and did not want to know about anything about the situation. But as you know, if you bottle things up, they come out eventually, and they did in a big explosion. But rest assured that things have been worked out now some 10 years later. Well, it didn't quite take that long. The explosion came about 12 months after my husband and I broke up, when she confronted me, and after a lot of talking, we both came to the understanding that the divorce happened and nothing we could do was going to change that. Back to anxiety. I've digressed, sorry. For some people, the symptoms come straight away, like mine did. For others, they develop over time and can come on gradually. The main thing is to recognize the symptoms for yourself, or listen to those that are close to you. If they are concerned and see that you are not coping well, they are the ones that can see you suffering and want to help you to get out of the cycle of anxiety. So listen to them and take on board what they have to say, as usually they only have your best interests at heart. They say that just about everybody has some form of mental illness in their lives, and it is nothing to be ashamed about. The more you talk about it, the more you will find out that other people have experienced the same feelings, and often they will share what worked for them and give you some ideas on techniques that you might be able to try for yourself. It should be said that we all have feelings of anxiety in our everyday lives. Our lives move at such a fast pace these days and can be stressful. But if the feelings of anxiety don't go away, then there is a problem that needs to be dealt with. I want to talk about the physical effects anxiety can have. These can affect you in different ways and can include difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, rapid heartbeat and breathing, sweating, dizziness, headaches, feeling sick, and diarrhea. If you are sitting there nodding your head at some of these things that you have experienced, I am hoping that you have already recognised or have now recognised that you are suffering from either a slight form or a deeper form of anxiety. Now, it would be remiss of me not to talk about some of the things you could do to get yourself out of the cycle of anxiety. There is a lot of information on the internet, and I'll go through some of the main ones that helped me, and from what I understand after listening to some of my clients, have been their choices also. Seeing a family doctor is one of the first points of call. They are used to seeing people with the same symptoms as you, and they can discuss a plan that can get you through the tough times or refer you to someone who can help further. For me, the main technique I used was controlled breathing. But I also used another technique that brought me back into the present. When the overwhelming feeling came over me, I stopped, I recognised the feeling, and I brought myself into the present. To do this, I said to myself, and sometimes out aloud, as this has a huge effect on stopping the cycle, what I was doing. So if I was sitting down watching TV, I would say to myself, I'm sitting down on this brown couch. I'm looking at the TV. There is a lady on the TV. I went on until the feeling of anxiety subsides. So I took my thoughts away from the feeling I was having and into what I was physically doing and into the now. I then started a breathing technique that is commonly used to reduce anxiety. I would take a deep breath and slowly count to 3 on the in-breath, breathing through my nose, and then I would slowly count to 3 on the outward breath through my mouth. I would continue this for about 10 in and out breaths. This technique also takes you from the feeling of anxiety to focus your thoughts on something else, and that is counting and the breathing slowly in and out. Doing 2 things at once, such as the breathing slowly in and out and the counting to 3, takes up a lot of concentration and can distract you from the feelings of anxiety. I also use the word relax at the top of the in-breath. Just using the word relax helped me to do just that, relax. My shoulders became less tense, the point between my eyebrows released slightly, and I could feel my body actually relaxing. You don't know how tense you are until you say the word relax, and feel your body doing just that, relaxing. Another visualization I used was to think of the in-breath as a beautiful, smooth blue color breathing into my body. The outward breath I visualized as being a red color, discarding the toxins out of my body. So let's do that exercise right now. Even though you are not necessarily going through an anxiety attack, it's just a good way of making sure that you are not too tense. Okay, I want you to sit up straight, take a deep breath in, and slowly count to 3 on the in-breath. 1, 2, 3. Now say the word relax, and then slowly release the outward breath to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. In slowly for 3 breaths. Say the word relax, and then exhale slowly, counting to 3. Can you feel your body relaxing? Maybe just a bit slightly. I know I can. I like to do this exercise when I've been sitting at my computer for a few hours. I unconsciously seem to tense my shoulders, but after doing this breathing exercise, I release a bit of the tension that was built up and feel much better. I didn't even know how tense I was until I said the word relax. So, anxiety can disrupt your sleep patterns, either causing you to get too much sleep or not enough. It is important to get into a regular sleep pattern, and this can be achieved by setting a regular bedtime, avoiding heavy rich foods at dinner, cutting down on caffeine intake through the day, especially after lunch, and using blackout curtains, especially when the summer months bring more sunlight into your bedroom. A friend told me about this course online which I completed. It's a 3-part self-help course and is run by St Vincent Hospital in Sydney. I found it very helpful. It was free and I could do it in the privacy of my own home and at a time that was convenient for me. It's self-paced and you can't just breeze through the modules at lightning speed. There is a time frame that allows you to read all the material, and will only move on to the next step when that time allows you to. You take an initial test which gives you a guide as to the severity of your anxiety or depression, and then you move on to completing the modules. They also give you extra information on their services and the clinics they run, so you can make choices that best suits you. So you can either do the online course or you can attend one of the clinics. And I'm sure there are other courses out there that you can attend online. And I think one of those courses someone told me about was Mood Gym. So before we finish on the subject of anxiety, I just wanted to mention setbacks, which is very important. They are common and normal to experience during your recovery process. They can be difficult to get over as you want to get back to feeling happy and healthy again, but persistence is the key. When one of these setbacks occur, try and look back at what state you were in when you first recognized your symptoms and started your recovery. Think about all the work you have done and the advancement you have accomplished. It may seem small, but at least you are on the upward side and moving forward. I've experienced a few panic attacks and I started a journal, as I couldn't see any progress I was making. After looking back over my journal a month later, I could see that I was slowly getting better, and I had in fact made progress. I also started to speak to myself as if I was speaking to one of my daughters. An example of this was after I had a dizzy attack, I would tell myself, for God's sake, why have you had a dizzy attack? I thought we were over this by now. With all the work you're doing and with your mind to get better, all of the reading you have done, you should be better by now. You shouldn't be experiencing any more dizzy attacks. I started to self-doubt myself. What was I doing wrong? What made me have another dizzy attack? Was my approach incorrect? Should I do something else? Now, I wouldn't say any of those things if I was speaking to one of my daughters, and they had rung me to tell me that they had had another dizzy attack. I would be saying things like, "You have made real progress. Good for you. I can see that you are working at changing your thought patterns. You are doing a good job. You should be proud of yourself." So be kind to yourself after a setback. I have an affirmation I'd like to share with you that is relevant to the step I've just discussed. I am now ready to overcome my fears and release any anxiety I might be feeling. I would like you to repeat the affirmation and change it if you feel the need to make it true for you. Let's move on to our next step 5, boost confidence. No matter who initiated the breakup, the end of a relationship is hard for everyone. While going through the anguish of a breakup, it is important to focus on the positive things in your life and not dwell on negatives, which can cause feelings of failure, sadness, and rejection. These feelings damage your self-confidence, which can cause you to suffer from low self-esteem. Having low self-esteem can affect how you think, act, and relate to people. So building up your self-esteem and your self-worth can have a direct bearing on your happiness and well-being. Your self-perception has an enormous impact on how others see you. The more confidence you have, the more likely you'll succeed in changing your life. Confidence boosting for most people doesn't happen overnight, but I'm hoping that after you complete the exercise we are going to do, will encourage you to grow in a positive direction and help you to start to feel good about yourself. We are going to talk about ways to build self-confidence. The way you look after your personal appearance, the way you do your hair, and the clothes you wear can have an emotional effect on the way you are feeling about yourself. Remember back to when you put on a new outfit. Say if you are going to a special occasion, such as a wedding or an engagement party or a friend's special event. You made an effort to go out to the shops and look through what seems hundreds of dresses or skirts and tops. You finally found one and brought it home. The day or night arrives and you get it out of your closet and put it on. You look in the mirror and you feel that you look good in that outfit. Your hair has been styled, your shoes are matching, your jewellery is looking fine, and generally you feel the whole package is looking great. Your makeup is amazing, and mostly you are very pleased at the way you are looking. When all of these things are in place, you have noticed that you tend to stand taller and straighter. You interact with other people in a more positive and self-assuring way. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy a completely new wardrobe. You possibly have quite a few outfits and clothes that make you feel special when you put them on. What I am saying is to wear the clothes that are in your wardrobe, the ones that do make you feel good about yourself. Or when you are buying clothes, shop wisely and buy the pieces of the clothing that give you that feeling of looking good and you feel confident when you are trying them on in the shop. Not necessarily what is in fashion at the time, but buy the clothes that make you feel good about yourself. You don't have to always listen to the shop attendant when she says you look good or great in that outfit, because they are there to sell clothes. But if your first response is that you look good in that outfit, then go with that and know that you do look good. You'll also feel good about yourself and your body image when you have been exercising. If you are unfit, you can feel unattractive and lack confidence in your personal appearance because you know that you have some wobbly bits that could be better toned if you put in the time to commit to exercising. Going to the gym, taking some classes, doing some walking or running, yoga or Pilates can all give you a feeling of more energy. You start to feel better about yourself, your clothes become looser, your body starts to tone up, you notice that muffin top has shrunk back a few centimetres. All these things elevate your mood, and the way you look and think about your physical appearance can change the way you think your life is going. Acts of generosity and kindness and paying it forward can do wonders to the way you feel about yourself. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do these things with the sole purpose of making you feel good about yourself. And it doesn't mean that it has to cost you any money. But when you give generously to others because you want to and don't expect anything back in return, or when you know that you have given your time to someone else and that time and effort on your behalf has helped another person in some way to lighten their load, often gives you a great sense of pleasure, knowing that you have made a difference in someone else's life, whether it be a small or a big act of generosity. When you are kind to other people, you are making a positive difference to their lives, and the flow-on effect can be enormous to your life and the way you think about yourself and what you can offer to others. Setting goals and achieving them, no matter how small they can be, also can make a difference to the way you think about yourself and your ability to achieve things in your life. When I was initially going through my divorce, my goals were very small. As I've previously said in webinar 1, I fell into a dark and gloomy place, and if it wasn't for my friend ringing me every day, I would have not have gotten through all of the tasks that needed to be done for me to move forward with divorce and my life. I set goals to accomplish things, small things at the start, like looking up phone numbers for the solicitor and the removalist. I completed that goal, I moved on to the next one, which was to write down the questions that I needed to ask when I rang them. Over time, my goals got larger and bigger, and as I completed each one, I felt a sense of pride that I had set out to do each of them, and I successfully completed each goal. This gave me renewed confidence to move on to the bigger ones that needed doing, such as packing up my stuff into boxes for the removalist. This might not sound such a big goal, but the way I was feeling and the low mood I was in when I first broke up from my husband, packing up all my worldly possessions felt like an insurmountable challenge. So what I am saying is it's okay to start setting small goals and work your way up to the larger and more significant ones. For you, it might be changing a habit that you do not like about yourself. It could be stop smoking or biting your nails. I know those are pretty significant habits, but smaller ones might be drinking more water each day or consuming less alcohol, stopping the sweet tooth after dinner. You get what I mean. Something that you know you can do, and do it for a month and see how you feel after a month. See if you can keep going for another month. Achieving what you set out to achieve can help you to feel much better about yourself. Smiling. I know this sounds corny, but it's amazing what a smile can do to the way you are thinking, especially if you are starting to feel a low mood coming on. You could be feeling down in the dumps, but when someone gives you a smile, you feel compelled to return that smile. This simple act can change the way you think, and you can go from having a depressing thought to completely changing the way you're thinking, or even wonder why you were initially depressed, or because some random person decided to give you a smile. So try this when you're having a negative thought. Smile, and I mean physically smile, not just a mental smile in your head, and see how you change the way you feel from the negative to a more upbeat frame of mind. It's worth a try. Now we come to exercise time, the fun part where I stop talking and you start writing. I want you to start a practice gratitude. I want you to write down everything you are grateful for, all the good things that you have in your life, the people that have helped you, the things that you have achieved, the place where you live, the holidays you've been on, the job that you work at, the food that is available for you to buy, things like that. You might think that it's a bit egotistical to write down all the things you have in your life, but it's not. It's a healthy practice to bring awareness of all the great and wonderful things that are in your life. That is why I want you to write down not just the material possessions, but experiences, achievements, successes, people, your health, things like these. Sometimes when we lack confidence, we feel that we do not have a lot of positives and things to be grateful for. This exercise is acknowledging and appreciating what you do have. You might think you don't have a lot going on in your life and that you can be grateful for. And you might be surprised at how much you do have when you think about it and acknowledge and write them down. Now, I would like you to take the next minute to start your list. You might not be able to remember everything you are grateful for in 1 minute. Keep your list handy and you can add to it over time. Once you've finished, read over the list and note how does it make you feel once you've read it. So I'm going to put my stopwatch on and give you a minute to write your list. As I've said, keep your list handy and you can add to it over time. And once you've finished it, read over the list and note how you feel. I have an affirmation. That was the gratitude list. I have an affirmation. I am now ready to love and accept myself unconditionally, and my confidence is soaring. So repeat that affirmation and feel free to change some of the words if you feel the need to and make it true for you. Now we come to the final step in this webinar, step number 6, loneliness busters. Breaking up from a relationship is never easy and no one can accurately describe the pain and loneliness you may feel. If you didn't have any children or if you are empty nesters and they've grown up and are now living their own lives, you are now coming home to an empty house or an apartment, sleeping alone, looking for one and going out alone. If you have children still at home, you may be living the life of a single parent, and whilst you are not coming home to an empty home, you may feel that your bed is empty and you don't have a special friend to share your day with or go out with. And even though you do have children, you can still have feelings of loneliness. It is important not to let the loneliness overwhelm you. Sometimes being in a relationship causes you to neglect yourself. There could be something on your bucket list that you've been making excuses about not doing because you were in the relationship. There may have been things that your ex-partner did not like to do, so you didn't do them. There could have been certain foods they did not like vegetarian food. They might have been an early riser, making sleeping in nearly impossible for you. Their taste in music might not have been the same as yours. So now you can eat the foods you want, sleep in on the weekends, and listen to the music you want. After a breakup, loneliness can feel devastating, but you are not alone in having these feelings. It is a common feeling, and everyone has different intensities of that feeling. However, like everything else, it does end. Be brave and put yourself out there. Turning the situation round can be easier than you think, and we will talk about some of the strategies you might be able to use that can turn your feelings of loneliness around. So one of the things we need to do is to combat the feelings of loneliness is to think about what activities have meaning to you. What activities would you like to do? Where would you like to do them? And whom would you like to do them with? They could include activities that are outdoors or in the comfort of your home. They could be activities that you like to do by yourself or with other people. Some ideas for outdoor activities you may enjoy would be gardening, bike riding, swimming, learning to surf, or other sporting activities such as golf or lawn bowls. You could enjoy a beautiful day and lie on a picnic blanket or a hammock and read a book or listen to music. Get a group of friends together and go for a bushwalk, or if you are more adventurous, give camping a go. You could look up on the internet your local events page and see what events, festivals or markets and other programs that are available for you to attend. You may wish to volunteer at one of these events. That way, still enjoying what is on offer and meeting new like-minded people that you may never have had the opportunity to meet otherwise. Bring out the creative side in you and start taking beautiful photographs, or do some painting or drawings. Make a short film. Start writing your story or write a poem. Learn a musical instrument. Take singing or dancing lessons. You could start a craft project, maybe making some lanterns, wishing flags or a wreath, or give some of the great ideas they have on TV shows a go. Learn a new recipe or create one of your favourite dishes. Clean out your wardrobe and the linen cupboard. I'm sure if they are anything like everybody else's, they could do with a spring clean. Start a jigsaw puzzle. Do a crossword. There are so many ideas to be tried out, just waiting for you to get out there and give them a go. There's no harm in trying a few things out. They may not be the ones for you, but you never know until you try. Now that we have talked about some ideas on how to get you out there and enjoying activities that interest you, I would like you to make a commitment to get out there and find the activities that are going on near you and interact and engage with people that are doing the same activities. I would like you to write down some activities you would like to try. They might not be some of the activities I've just talked about. There may be some other things that you have thought about. So give it a go and see what you come up with. I'll give you a minute to write down your list. How'd you go with your list? I hope you've thought of some things that you'd like to do. I now have an affirmation. I'm now ready to attract only healthy relationships into my life. So if you'd like to repeat that and change the words to make it true for you. So to recap on the steps that we have covered in this webinar number 2, and they were step number 4, discover calmness. Step number 5, so we'll just talk about step number 4, discovering calmness and the symptoms of anxiety. We went through some of the things you can do to stop the feelings that can be overwhelming and stressful. Talked about some of the techniques you can use, such as bringing your thoughts back into the present by telling yourself what you're doing, like I'm sitting on a chair, the chair is brown, I'm looking at the floor and it has big white tiles, that sort of thing. And controlled breathing, counting to 3 on the inward breath, using the word relax, and counting slowly to 3 on the outward breath. When I talk about relax, I also want you to think of some activities that can help you to relax. Learning to relax can be difficult in our busy lives, but we need to set aside time to do the activities that we enjoy. And these activities can take us to another place that is far away from any of the worries and stresses we have going on in our lives. For me, it's swimming. Swimming relaxes me. I like nothing better to swim in the ocean or when I'm not anywhere near the sea, I use a public swimming pool that I have here in my local town. There is something relaxing for me swimming up and down that black line that allows me to switch off from everyday life. I sing songs to myself. I think of some of the fun times I've had when I was on holidays. It brings back happy memories or events or situations that have occurred in my life. It is a place where I don't think of negative things. And if one does pop up in my head, I'm always able to replace it with a nicer one. Now, for some people, swimming would not bring any relaxing feelings. Taking a walk outdoors in a park or a forest or a bush setting, or going for a run or other forms of exercising would be relaxing, like yoga, or listening to music is always a good one. Cooking or doing something creative can work for you. It's about finding out what does work for you and setting aside the time of the day or a number of times a week that you can create a balance in your life between work and play. Implementing constructive changes in your daily life will cause your thoughts and feelings to change over time, and this in turn will help you have a more positive outlook about your future. You will start to feel that you are gaining control over your situation rather than being at the mercy of it. In step number 5, boost confidence, we talked about your self-perception having an enormous impact on how others see you. The more confidence you have, the more likely you'll succeed in changing your life. We talked about how to make you feel good about yourself in the way you present yourself, and how good you can feel about yourself just by clothes that you wear, the weight you have dropped by exercising, acts of generosity and kindness, and not expecting anything in return, and the simple act of smiling, and what effect that can have on your mood. Loneliness busters, we talked about activities that you would like to try, whether they be outdoor activities or indoor ones that you can do by yourself or ones that involve other like-minded people. In the exercise you completed, you got to think about what activities you would like to try, and you wrote them down. So now you have a list of activities that you might be interested in. Now all you have to do is seek them out. Find out if they are in your local neighbourhood, or do you have to travel. Ask your friends if they are members of any groups you would like to try. Ask them where they meet and if you could join in. The internet is another place to investigate what is happening in your local area or city. By getting out there, finding activities that interest you and meeting people with similar interests, this will help fill in some of the time you were previously spending by yourself. So now we've come to the conclusion. We've come to the end of webinar number 2, and I would like to say thank you for listening, and I hope that I have been able to offer you what I set out to do. And that is to provide valuable content that is honest and straightforward, and that some of the exercises that you have completed have given you a different and a more positive way of looking at your situation. Now, I have 5 spots available for my 30-minute sounding board session as a thank you for listening to my webinar. I'm offering this for free. I usually charge $47, but today you can register for free. The link is on the screen below. I'm just going to make sure it is. In this 30-minute sounding board session, we will talk one-on-one about what's going on with you and your current situation. Just going to tell you what I do. You will walk away with strategies that you can implement immediately so you can begin to feel happy again, get back on track, and start to feel good about yourself. I want you to begin your journey forward and live the life you truly deserve. So you can click on the link below that says Get Started. You can see in the free 30-minute sounding board session with Barbara Stevens. All you have to do is click on that Get Started. That'll take you through to a form that you fill out, and I'll be in contact with you so we can arrange a time to meet you via Skype. Remember, there are only 5 spots available. That's also, I'll put it on the screen, the link to the 30-minute sounding board session. I share further insights, information and support through my Facebook community, which you are more than welcome to join. It's Barbara Stevens, Breakup Recovery Mentor. To get more tips to get through your breakup, have a look at my blogs on my website, barbarastevens.com.au/blog. If you would like to find out more about what I can offer you, please have a look at my website, barbarastevens.com.au, or email me at info@barbarastevens.com.au. I would love to connect with you and hear your feedback on what we have covered today. I look forward to having you experience my next webinar, and this one will be posted onto my website so you can easily download. And the last thing I would like to say is, be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness. I'm Barbara Stevens, and I've enjoyed your company.